Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another match reaction, match review. City 5, Huddersfield 0. A no contest, really. I mean, look, no disrespect to our opposition, of course, but I think they knew what they were up against today. Or yesterday, by the time this video goes out. So, I think most people expected this outcome, but there are a few interesting talking points that I do want to quickly just brief over. Of course, as per standard, if you would like the video, that would help us out. And if you would subscribe if you are new, we're trying to reach 7k as soon as possible. But let's just get on to the game. I mean, I don't want to keep you for too long because, again, a lot of these things are fairly obvious. And of course, it's not the most glamorous game. I think we all know that. But there were a few very good signs for me personally. I always like to try and nitpick on this channel. I always like to try and find some sort of small, even if it's small, some small negative, because I always believe there's room for improvement, and I can't find one. I can't find one, or I can't find a glaringly obvious one. I mean, the big negative and the only real negative for me is the injury to Manuel Akanji. Now, I had to scroll through City Extra and I didn't see any quotes, whether that is going to be part of some embargoed press conference or whether that's just going to be a question that's answered in the press conference for the Newcastle game at the weekend. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I was at this game. I actually missed kickoff, funnily enough, so I didn't actually see the challenge that happened. I know it was a bad challenge or a late challenge that resulted in a yellow card. When I got into the stadium, Akanji was, off the pitch, receiving treatment, ready to come back on, and then, he couldn't continue after that, so that's all I saw of that. So I haven't seen a replay, so do I know how bad it is? No. Was I hoping there was going to be a question asked or an answer somewhere? I mean, there might be. You let me know in the comments if you've got some information. I didn't really look too hard into it on Twitter. I just went looking for press conference quotes to see, exactly if there was a question asked or whether there was any issues. But apart from that, that's the only negative I can think of. I can't think of a single other thing. All I can think of is glowing positives. Once again, Phil Foden in midfield. Man of the match, deservedly so. Gets his 2 goals. Involved in the sort of scramble that was Alvarez's goal. But yeah, I mean, another goal from outside the box from a short corner. Really well worked goal. I think there was a little backheel flick from Kovacic, who I will speak about separately after this as well. But I mean, just Phil Foden opens a deadlock tight angle. That first goal was crucial because, I mean, I say fair play to Huddersfield, they had a game plan. Their game plan was to sit in a 5-4-1, which is the second most negative formation I've ever seen. Second only to Diego Simeone in his 5-5-0. So that first 20 minutes, real slog. Real tough watch. It was just bodies upon bodies. There was players trying long shots and, they didn't go 5 yards without taking some sort of deflection because there was just so many bodies in the way. But that first goal, again, crucial, opens up the game. We get a second one pretty quick after that as well. We're going at 2-0 and you're thinking, Huddersfield may come out in the second half thinking they've got nothing to lose and the floodgates could open, and that kind of happened. They did sort of keep it relatively the same. They sat in a 5-4-1 and I suppose just tried to keep the score down, but it was inevitable that we were going to get another chance. And from there, you're just thinking of how many when you see Kevin De Bruyne come on and Jeremy Doku come on, and it's like, this could be a cricket score. I don't think Huddersfield will be too embarrassed with the 5-0. 5-0 seems bad. But it's just a golfing opposition and a golfing quality for them, really. But I suppose I'll move on to Kovacic. I mentioned him before. He was playing in that Rodri sort of position, and he surprised me. He surprised me, to be honest. I think he's been off the boil recently. I think, a lot of that is due to injuries and inconsistencies with playing. But today he was really good. Again, it's not like the toughest of opposition. It's not a big test, but again, if the rumours are true and Calvin Phillips is going to be gone, which I believe they are true, I believe he will go somewhere. Where that will be, I do not know, but I believe he will be gone by the end of the January transfer window. Mateo Kovacic has slightly proven that he could deputise for Rodri if needed. I don't think it's desired. I still think that, or at least from my point of view, I'd still rather a replacement for Phillips. Just as a body, someone else, because I think the one thing that Kovacic lacks is the physical side of the game. He's a bit small. He's not really going to win a header. He's not going to shrug someone off the ball. I mean, he could take a yellow card, tactical foul, but again, he's just not big. Which when he's paired up with Rico Lewis, or which he was paired up with Rico Lewis to start the game, it can become a bit of an issue with the side that has a bit of a more physical midfield. But of course, Kanji gets injured, Nunes comes on. Nunes adds a bit of physicality into the midfield, kind of negates that. Nunes, I thought, again, we saw bright sparks. I don't think we saw anything spectacular, but bright sparks. Oscar Bob as well, little mention to him as well. He did not mean that goal at all. From where I saw it in the stadium, I thought it was a cross. I think I've seen a replay. I think it takes a big deflection. He was aiming for Kevin De Bruyne, which, if he would have scored, the roof would have come off the stadium. I don't think the atmosphere was particularly great, but every time he touched the ball, when he warmed up, when the people saw him just standing in the technical area ready to come on, that's when the atmosphere lifted. It's a big boost. I said it in the preview. He doesn't even have to play. Just him being back in the squad is a massive boost to everyone. It gets the crowd, moving. It really does. So, overall, just a really big positive performance. Kevin De Bruyne getting 40 minutes. I was hoping for 20. He got 40. That's more than I expected. Of course, Pep saying he's not ready for 90. I understand. No risks there. He's not going to start a game of football for a while. He's going to be slowly ramping up his minutes. I expect the same thing against Newcastle, where he will get on the pitch. We will see him again against Newcastle, but will he start? I do not think so. If you think differently, then let me know in the comments. But I think we all know that this is going to be a slow progression, but it's a very scary one because he's already got an assist. He assisted Jeremy Doku again. A little shout out to Jeremy Doku. Great goal. Got the gritty going again. Grittied in all 3 competitions that he scored in. How nice. Yeah, that's about it. There's not really much to say. It's 5-0 win against a team that's near the bottom of the championship at home. Again, it's sort of just business as usual, I suppose. I say business as usual. We have not been able to say that for weeks. So it's very refreshing to be able to say business as usual. And, we're keeping clean sheets now. I think that's 2 in a row. We've scored 5 goals. We've put a team away comfortably. Again, opposition, don't matter who they are, we have not been convincing in many performances. I think Sheffield United was a bit more convincing, but that run of games before that Club World Cup where we just couldn't buy a win, none of them were, even if we managed to scrape a win somehow, even if Palace don't get a late penalty or whatever, they're still not convincing performances. But this one was very, very convincing, and I hope we can continue this. Got Newcastle next, then we've got a bit of a break, and I think that it's a perfect time to go on a run because Arsenal have just lost again. They've got 1 win in 7. They're going in their own run. We can't afford Liverpool to get ahead of steam and get ahead of us too much. So, we really need to kick on. And I think that a game like this, confidence booster, get the players back. The only, the 2 main players we were missing, I'm not going to count the illnesses because they're not really missing. They could have played if necessary. But John Stones and Erling Haaland are the only players that we missed. And Haaland is pretty much there. Again, he's another one that I think if he was needed, he would have played. But he wasn't needed. But that's all from me. Maybe a bit longer than I expected, but it's 5 goals. I want to touch on all of them because, a few different scorers, a few different players playing well. Just an overall really positive result, one that I think we've been waiting for. And I'm glad it's happened. I'm glad it's happened now. That's it from me. You let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you like the video on the way out, it'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe if you are new. We're trying to reach 7k as quickly as possible. And I will see you, if I don't see you in midweek, if there's no break in transfer news, I'm hoping to do a transfer video. If I don't see you in midweek, I'll see you at the weekend for Newcastle.